Hi everyone, I'm JD. Welcome back to my channel. So I've got my vintage junk journal here again. I've done another page spread, which I'm so excited about. Anytime I do a page in here, I'm always excited and happy. I just love this journal. It's my favourite one that I have been feeling so far. I just love all the pages. Every single page just makes me happy, has a story and a meaning behind it. Oh, I really love that colourful one. That's nice and bright. So pretty. So like I said, I skipped the second signature and went to this one. And here is the next page I have done. So how this one came about was originally this piece. I just really loved this piece and wanted to show it off. This is my special treasure piece that I'm starting off with, and everything else kind of worked with it. So I thought this page was fitting for it because there's the hummingbird and it just had a lot of bird things going on. So this piece too. This piece was a bit of like I just ripped off a piece of coffee dyed paper and there's a stamp image of some birds. This is some washi tape and I thought that fit well with the hummingbird picture. And this says bird. You probably can't see it very well, but it says bird and it's got some birds written on there, and it's some washi tape too from Washi Wednesday. This page was a Daphne's Diary page that was already bound into the journal. I've got a postcard here and I did some journaling on the back, and all these pieces come from Treasure Keeping, the Treasure Keeping sisters. These were some of the elements that were included in one of their journals that they so kindly gifted me, and yeah, I just had so much fun doing a page using stuff from them. And the meaning behind this page is a little lesson that I've been learning, or insight over the years, that part of life is about learning how to live in the tension of the existence of both good and the cruel. And that's what I call it, the good and the cruel, because the good represents beauty, joy, laughter, friendship, family, love, all that kind of stuff. The cruel represents, you know, the famines, the wars, pain, wounds, death, destruction, anything cruelty where it feels just like life is cruel and unfair. And the thing about life is there's both, and how to live in that tension is what this page is about. And how, for me, one thing that I've been learning, how it's best for me to respond and deal well with that reality of the cruel that exists in the world, is to focus on, well, to not let that overwhelm me. How I do that is focus on the fact that there's still good. Like the cruel doesn't nullify the good, it doesn't erase the good, it doesn't diminish the good, is the point. I know, like, whenever I get swamped by images of animal cruelty or stories of animal cruelty, that really tears me up. It really affects me deeply on a soul level, where I feel kind of, it messes me up. It makes me feel like, why even live? Like, how can I live in a world where something so horrible happens? Innocent creatures, you know, suffering needlessly. And one time when that happened, I don't know if you remember, if you followed my channel for a while, I got really messed up when I saw a video of a cat struggling and suffering, and for 2 days I just could not think about anything else, and I was just a bit confused and just yeah, I didn't know how to live, I didn't know how to function, and it just felt like the good wasn't enough. Does that make sense? I was just kind of overwhelmed and swamped by these feelings of how much cruelty there was in the world, not just with the animals, but with, like, you can extrapolate that to everything. Like, yes, there's animal cruelty, but there's also cruelty everywhere. And all I could see was cruelty everywhere. But the thing that got me through that time was just knowing that, hey, there's still actually sunsets and sunrises and flowers and beaches and laughter and friendship, and those things still do exist. And it doesn't mean we live in one or the other, if that makes sense, that we can just close our eyes to all the cruel things in the world and just live in rose-coloured glasses and that kind of thing. But we also don't have to be overwhelmed by the cruel and just be like, oh, can't focus on flowers, who cares about flowers because there's cruelty going on. And what I had to learn was there's both. Both exist, and I can live in that tension of feeling cut up when I see cruelty, but also allowing myself to smile and laugh anytime that there is joy or beauty and wonder and awe, to feel both sad about the cruel things and joy at the good things. Does that make sense? And I'm still wrestling with it. I'm still going through life wrestling and oscillating between those two dynamics. But I think that's the thing that every person kind of needs to navigate, because this is the reality of life. There's both good things in life and cruel things in life, and all of us will come to terms with it in our own way. And I hope that this is encouraging. I mean, it sounds a bit discouraging mentioning all the cruel things in the world, but it's just a reality that we all have to face, and the best way we can deal with it is what this is about, to find your own way to respond well to it and not let it consume you, not let it overwhelm you, not let it stop you from living life and enjoying life. And I don't know if anyone is in this situation right now and you're in a dark time, a cruel time, whatever cruel means to you, but if this helps you, this is what helped me, is knowing when I'm in those times, yes, it's okay to be in those times. I'm not going to close my eyes to them. I'm going to feel the weight of them, but I'm not going to let them overtake me and consume me either. I'm going to acknowledge that this exists, but also joy and beauty and goodness also exists too, and that's worth living for. I think that was the phrase that came to me. That's worth living for. So even though there's these cruel things that exist in the world, I can keep going, I can keep pressing on, I can keep living, because there is good and there is beauty that is worth living for, even though this exists. I hope that makes sense. It's a really deep page, a bit philosophical, I guess, but like I said, I'm still wrestling through it, so if I'm unclear, it's because I'm still wrestling with this tension, and I think it might be a lifelong tension that we all go through, right? And I think that's okay. I think that's like an important lesson that I learned too, that it's okay to wrestle with the tension. That's why it's a tension. We wrestle with things that are uncomfortable and that kind of thing. So the cruel does not diminish the good. Instead, appreciate the good more. It is all around us. There is beauty everywhere, so much life and goodness. And sometimes I can let the cruel close my eyes to the good. I can be like, oh no, there's no beauty anywhere. All I can see is the bad, the cruel, the pain. It's like, no, open your eyes. There's cruel, but there's also good everywhere. And that's one thing I learned as well by this other little lesson. My depression and anxiety journey, well, that's a big lesson, but it taught me to value happiness, because when I had depression and anxiety, my happiness disappeared. And for the first time, that's when it really made me recognize the importance of happiness. And so now that I've come through depression and anxiety, I hold on tightly to joy, delight, and happiness, because now I know how important it is, and I fight for it. I fight for it because I know what it's like to lose it, and I never want to go back there. And another little lesson was, there was like a few days up here in Queensland where it was just grey skies and rain, and where I live it's usually 99% of the time blue skies and sunny, so it's not often that I see rain and grey skies. So I was getting quite a bit down looking out my window. The weather does really affect me. It's part of the reason why I moved from Melbourne to Queensland. I'm a summer girl. I love the sun and the heat, and the cold weather really affects me in a negative way. And so I was starting to get down looking out my windows and feeling cold all the time and seeing rain and, hi Keanu, rain and grey clouds and everything. And then the next day, sun came out, and I just spent the day like outside in the sun. And I never spend the day outside in the sun. I'm always in my room. But because the sun came out and I hadn't seen it for so long, I was outside and just smiling, just enjoying it. And it made me think while I was sitting there, that rain, even though I was getting down about it after a few days, I really appreciate the rain, because it made me appreciate the sun and not take it for granted. And I came up with my own little quote, but I'm pretty sure it's like a quote that everyone knows, but without the rain and the darkness, we can't appreciate the sun and the light. So sometimes we need the rain and the darkness in our lives, whatever metaphor you want to take that as, before we can appreciate the good things in life. And so that's my encouragement again to myself, that yes, there are cruel things in the world, and not that we need cruel things, not that, try to get my heart here, but that we can see that good can come out of cruel things. And maybe one of those good things that can come out of it is that I appreciate life more, I appreciate goodness more, I appreciate beauty more, and I soak it all in and not take it for granted. The cruel is not good, but good can come out of the cruel. And if that's one thing I can take out of it, then I'll take it. Alright guys, that was pretty deep, but I do hope it's encouraging. Whatever you're going through, I hope and I pray that you will see the good around you, see the beauty everywhere, that your eyes will just be opened and lit up by all the good that still exists in the world, that is still all around you, and you have permission to enjoy it in the midst of trials and pain and cruelty. Okay guys, thank you so much for watching, and let me know what you think of this page spread and if it connected with you in any way, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye guys.